Inevitable.
Inevitable. Inevitable, 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 inevitable.
Inevitable. Inevitable. Una anémona anónima.
Okay, yes. If we remain alive, being crazy will be inevitable. That's for sure. Some of you don't need to stay alive. No, I mean you already have that disease.
What disease?
What disease?
Being crazy.
Are you talking to us?
No. I was talking to everyone. No, guys. Of course not. Of course not.
Okay.
So, anybody else who would like to try?
Probably Valeria. She seems so comfortable.
Yes, and so crazy. Yeah, she's looking at the book. So, Valeria, please. Come on. Órale, chinga.
Come on.
The chances that we're going back to school are poor?
Are poor? Yes. For this semester, yes.
They say that we are coming back in August or something like that.
Poor or new, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Julieta,
Yes.
please.
With these sentences, right?
Yes.
Well, I think that it seems inevitable. Yes. to stop thinking that our lives is going to change. I mean, our lifestyles is going to change. Nothing is going to be like the same way, and it has to be that way. We need to be prepared.
Who says that it has to be like that?
Well, because for something this happened, so it's not like we just have to be like, yes, it happened, but that is it. So, I mean, it has to be that I don't know how to say it, like,
right,
we don't like it has to be that way, we need to be aware that we need to change our habits or something.
Yes,
like that. That's what I meant.
Yes, you're right. Anybody else?
There's some like I mean, there's a phrase that kind of Julieta says, and I like it very much. Julieta. It's that change is the only constant thing in the universe. I mean, if there's not the virus, it could be something else. Our life is always changing.
Yes, I think you're right, guys, and I'm glad you're considering these facts, because most people don't understand that life is always moving and changing. So whenever something changes, they just I don't know, they get really scared. Okay, they go crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. So thank you very much for sharing. Anybody else who would like to use one of those phrases? Some people haven't participated. This is not about it's you. It's about you participating, trying. Gina, would you like to? Yes.
Yes. There is no doubt that it will be an economic crisis after this pandemic situation.
Yes. How do you think will impact on us, like regular people? I know we're special and everything, but we're like
price. Oh yeah, the price of the products will increase. The basic products like here we are in the market. The food like eggs, milk, rice, meat, all that kind of food is increasing because of the dollar. And the petrol in Mexico is evaluated.
Yes,
Well, yes, and some people are losing their jobs. No?
So do you think that the phrase to be used over here is there's a good chance that, or there's no doubt that?
There's no doubt.
Yes. Yes. There's no doubt that we are all going to die. No, that Carlita, like that. Okay. Okay. Let's just move on to the following part. Before we continue, I would like you to see this very short video. I told you I like this streaming thing because I can show you all the videos that I want to, and you have to watch them. That's pretty good. I feel evil right now. I feel so evil. Let's see. It's a very good one. It doesn't last more than like 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, sorry, it's 4:57. I'm sorry about that. So it's about this. Somehow it's related to economics and to the products around the world. It's a thesis from a very, I think it's like from like 100 years ago. And right now it's kind of trendy. People are paying attention to this for a reason. That's why we have it on TED Talks.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So here we go. I'd like you to look at it, and then we'll talk about it for some minutes. Here we go. Wait, I'll go back. There's a question. Again. Well, no, this is Aristotle. Well, yes, again, Aristotle. We talked about this guy. What is common to the greatest number? What's common to the greatest number gets the least amount of care. Right? Do you understand that? What's common to the greatest number gets the least amount of care.
It's like saying like the popular opinion is not always like seen or taken care of.
No. It's about like it's related to this other statement. If things are done well, nobody sees or nobody notices. When something goes wrong, everybody. Something like that. Okay. What's common to the greatest number? What's the common things for the good things that happen and in which are involved lots of people? Those are the ones that people don't really care for because they take it for granted. Yes. Yes.
Imagine as a thought experiment that you live in a small village and depend on the local fish pond for food. You share the pond with 3 other villagers. The pond starts off with a dozen fish, and the fish reproduce. For every 2 fish, there will be 1 baby added each night. So, in order to maximize your supply of food, how many fish should you catch each day? Take a moment to think about it. Assume baby fish grow to full size immediately, and that the pond begins at full capacity, and ignore factors like the sex of the fish you catch. The answer? 1. And it's not just you. The best way to maximize every villager's food supply is for each fisherman to take just 1 fish each day. Here's how the math works. If each villager takes 1 fish, there will be 8 fish left overnight. Each pair of fish produces 1 baby, and the next day, the pond will be fully restocked with 12 fish. If anyone takes more than 1, the number of reproductive pairs drops, and the population won't be able to bounce back. Eventually, the fish in the lake will be gone, leaving all 4 villagers to starve. This fish pond is just one example of a classic problem called the tragedy of the commons. The phenomenon was first described in a pamphlet by economist William Forster Lloyd in 1833 in a discussion of the overgrazing of cattle on village common areas. More than 100 years later, ecologist Garrett Hardin revived the concept to describe what happens when many individuals all share a limited resource, like grazing land, fishing areas.
What's grazing land?
Places where the animals eat.
That's grazing land. In Spanish?
Pastizal.
Los pastizales, ajá, exacto.
Grazing land, fishing areas, living space, even clean air. Hardin argued that these situations pit short-term self-interest against the common good, and they end badly for everyone, resulting in overgrazing, overfishing, overpopulation, pollution, and other social and environmental problems. The key feature of a tragedy of the commons is that it provides an opportunity for an individual to benefit him or herself while spreading out any negative effects across the larger population. To see what that means, let's revisit our fish pond. Each individual fisherman is motivated to take as many fish as he can for himself. Meanwhile, any decline in fish reproduction is shared by the entire village. Anxious to avoid losing out to his neighbors, a fisherman will conclude that it's in his best interest to take an extra fish, or 2, or 3. Unfortunately, this is the same conclusion reached by the other fishermen, and that's the tragedy. Optimizing for the self in the short term isn't optimal for anyone in the long term. That's a simplified example, but the tragedy of the commons plays out in the more complex systems of real life too. The overuse of antibiotics has led to short-term gains in livestock production and in treating common illnesses.
What's livestock?
Like what?
Livestock.
What?
Here's livestock.
Livestock.
Ganado. Pero no de joder, que me he ganado. No, este es de
las vacas, ¿no?
Gains in livestock production and in treating common illnesses. But it's also resulted in the evolution of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which threaten the entire population. A coal-fired power plant produces cheap electricity for its customers and profits for its owners. These local benefits are helpful in the short term, but pollution from mining and burning coal is spread across the entire atmosphere and sticks around for thousands of years. There are other examples too. Littering, water shortages.
What's littering? I didn't say littering, I said littering.
Like throwing trash?
Yes, throwing trash.
Deforestation, traffic jams, even the purchase of bottled water. But human civilization has proven it's capable of doing something remarkable. We form social contracts, we make communal agreements, we elect governments, and we pass laws. All this to save our collective selves from our own individual impulses. It isn't easy, and we certainly don't get it right nearly all of the time. But humans, at our best, have shown that we can solve these problems, and we can continue to do so if we remember Hardin's lesson. When the tragedy of the commons applies, what's good for all of us is good for each of us. TED-Ed is a nonprofit. If you value our work,
okay, we value your work, but we won't give you money. Yes. So, comments on this?